Hello from the new flat. My partner and I have recently upgraded from a lofted studio to a 2-bedroom. It's very exciting. I think the move is officially over as of last night. It has been such a process. We had movers help us bring over like most of our things. We were like going back to our old flat and cleaning it and patching holes and getting that ready to officially check out of. And I also had an art studio that I have moved out of and packaging up all that stuff. And last night we went over to it, all the boxes in Uber, and brought it over here. So we are in one place. Everything is here. It's not very like decorated yet, but I'll show you a few cute things we have going on. This room is nearly the same square footage as our entire studio flat, so we have a lot to work with. We have a little bookcase record player set up here. This just a print that we mounted on some fabric to take up some more space in this frame, and it fills the wall really nicely. Some cool lighting. We are a anti-big light household, so this will be super nice, especially it gets like darker in the winter. This rug, I'm so glad we came with. It's from Hay. We found it new on Vinted from someone who just like didn't like the size of it, so we got it on like a huge discount. And then our sofa is from Hay. We need to pound it out a bit. From traveling, it got a little bit like lumpy, but it's in this gorgeous fabric that I think looks so nice, and it's very like low to the ground and just wide and fun to hang out on. The biggest piece of furniture that we've like bought, but we also love a good find. So this table here, Grace found in the trash outside of our last flat, and that is super cute. And then over here, we have another great find. So we didn't have a dining table in our last flat. It was a studio. We just like ate at the breakfast counter or on the couch, but here we have actually a ton of space. So we got this amazing dining table off of Facebook Marketplace. We've been looking for something like this. Whoever listed this had some great SEO because we were just searching on Google to see what we could find, and this eBay listing came up. We got it for 150 pounds, which is amazing because it's genuine vintage. It's like 50 years old. I swear if you go to a London like antique store or car boot, you would find something like this for 600 plus pounds. The family we got it from was so nice. We went over one morning, put it in an Uber, and now it's here. We need to like suction it properly to the top. I don't think it's very even, but that was such a find. And we already had these chairs that we got from Facebook Marketplace a while ago in our flat, and they match it just perfectly. We only have 2, so we're gonna be on the hunt for 2 more, even if they're a little bit different. I think if they're, you know, something in the middle family, that will be just a cute little nook we have going here. And we're thinking a big light above the table. Nothing over here, so like my camera can't even focus on it. But this corner is probably where we'll put our record stuff and shelves in the future, because over here, where we have this going on, we actually just ordered a new couch. Can you picture it there? It's gonna be so cute. It can take a while to get here. It said 3 to 6 weeks, but I'm itching to try this out, so I hope it comes a little bit faster than that. Obviously, it needs some more decor on the walls. We have a few other pictures from our last flat that we just haven't like walked around and put anywhere up, so I might do a little bit of that tonight, but it's been very fun to just get everything here and think about what next steps are. A bedroom that is going to be the like office slash studio space, ready for even less furniture and some more white walls, because pretty much all I have in here is the boxes that we picked up from the studio last night and dumped here. I'll give you a little lay of the land. Most exciting corner is that we brought this red locker that was in the main studio room at our last place, and it's going to be storage for studio stuff from the brand Mustard Made, and I love this red color. It's kind of like an IKEA flat pack situation, so the door fell off while we were moving it, but I don't think that's going to be a big deal to put back in. We just haven't quite done it yet. And then we have a bunch of shelves that you can put in at any level. Have some fun figuring out like what I want it to hold and do with that. This is an IKEA trolley that I'm going to load up with some craft supplies. I'm gonna get all my like hair stuff out of here, and I think because it's on wheels, this will be really good for like day-to-day craft stuff like scissors and measuring tapes. I'll put across the top, and then I can roll it around the room with me. The sewing machine to the cutting table, whatever. The boxes, here I have just my stash of fabric and yarn. I need to get some shelves to put them on. This desk is something that the landlord left. I've just been using it with this chair that he left to do my work at until we get some other tables. But over here, I think we're gonna do some L-shaped tables. So something kind of low like this. Underneath the window, you can have like sewing machine, serger, space to put up a laptop and do some work and sit. Then a taller, possibly on wheels, standing desk for cutting and just like other crafting purposes over here. We're doing some measuring tonight. All of this is pictures that we need to hang up. This is a free printer that we found in the lobby of our last flat literally the day before we were leaving, and we were like, okay, that's coming with. So home printer slay for free. Also at the little standing desk, we have these cute stools that we used at the breakfast bar in our last place. They're from Hay, and I love the red. It matches the red locker, so I think that'll be really cute for some more seating up here. I've organized all these boxes based on kind of what they are and what kind of storage I need for them. So this is all extra snail mail girl stock, so magazines, print, envelopes, shipping stuff. I need to make a little shipping station, and I think I need to get a Pinterest board going about like how to make that cute somewhere in this room. Then then over here is the stuff that's really gonna need some organization. So this is all workshop materials. I put it over here because I actually don't need this very accessible to me. I don't do workshops every day, obviously. I don't often need like a dozen hot glue guns and 30 embroidery hoops like I have over here. So I'm thinking in one of these built-in closets, I might get some nice boxes to package stuff up in, like boxes that I can both keep the stuff in, but also maybe have some handles so that when it's like embroidery workshop time, I can grab it and be like, okay, all my embroidery stuff is in this bin. Now we're just keeping kind of random stuff in here that we didn't want to organize yet, but they're really nice, like large built-in closets, which I feel like is rare to find in London. So we'll see what we can do with that. Not much to show, I know, but we're really at like a blank canvas situation here. We feel really lucky because a lot of the 2 bedrooms we were seeing, I was like, this should not be called a 2-bedroom. Like some of them barely fit a bed. This is actually the biggest of our 2 bedrooms, and it's so big that we were like, we can't actually use this as a bedroom because what we do with all the extra space, I think it's gonna be really good as a more like multi-purpose room. Grace or I work from home, we'll have like a desk space, studio space, and like storage for all of Material Girl stuff. We eventually want to get a futon maybe over in this corner so that people can stay here as well. I'm excited to have a better place to like host people, which has been really hard in a studio. I need to get on Pinterest and see like what kind of cute studio inspo I can get, because I think for so long I've been thinking about just the logistics of moving, of packing things up from like multiple studios, organizing when they're going to get over here, when we overlap of having keys of multiple places. You know, it's been like a whole thing, but we are officially done. We have nothing anywhere else in the city of London. Now that all the logistics are done, I feel like it hasn't quite hit me that I actually have a studio to design. Like obviously there are practical things to think of, like what kind of shelving do I need for the amount of stuff that I have. Also home art studio, that's so cute. Like what are people doing with their sewing machines to make that cute? And with the walls, like at the studio before this I had just a big like pin board worth of stuff, but I have all this white wall space now. What kind of inspiration do I want to have up? So later tonight we're taking some measurements for tables. Later this week I'm hoping to pick up a sewing machine, which is a big purchase. When I first started sewing, I was just using hand-me-down sewing machines for my family, and then when I moved to London, I never actually got one. I moved into a studio that had like shared sewing machines at it, which was such a blessing because I would not have been able to like afford something like that at that time. But now I've been doing some research, what kind of brands I want to invest in. I'll keep you updated on that. I just feel like a lucky girl. I get to run my little business from here, a little home studio. So I'll keep you updated. I might do like a whole separate video on setting it up because I love watching people organize. So hopefully you will too. Very exciting purchases. Yesterday I went to this tiny sewing shop called Mori Sewing Company to get a new sewing machine and a serger. I knew for a while that I wanted I thought it was pronounced Janome, but at the store he kept calling it Genome, which I don't think is as cute. But anyway, I don't know how to say it, but I always knew I wanted one of these because they are known to have very durable metal bodies. And I feel like those little sewing shops are always the way to go because, well, first of all, we love to like support a small business, but also just run by like people who've been doing this for years, who are super passionate and super knowledgeable about what they're talking about. Like he knew everything on the market, and he also gave me a great price. He like looked up online while he was there, and the lowest price that he could find is the price that he gave me, which I think is so nice. So let's do a little unboxing. We'll start with the sewing machine. This is a Genome model 423S. So like I said, I knew that I wanted a metal body machine. Well, when I first started sewing like back in the States, I was using just kind of hand-me-down machines that I had from my mom or grandma. At one point I had like used one I got on Facebook Marketplace. They actually all kind of broke down. One of them was even like smoking at one point, and I took it to a shop and they were like, you can't do anything about this, it's just worn out because it has plastic parts. And so when I got this one, I was like, my top priority is a metal body and like as much metal in it as possible because that just means it can last longer, it's easier to repair. I often get asked like what sewing machines I recommend, and I'm not an expert on sewing machines. I haven't used that many of them, so I'm not really like the right person to ask, but what I would say is like a lot of the new Singers and Brothers that are on the market are known to be with plastic parts and just made quite cheaply. Like if you get vintage ones, they're a little bit better, but the new ones, I do know, just like don't tend to last very long. They can be good for like beginner machines, but I'm not really a beginner. I wanted something that was going to last me a long time. Okay, I think the cover is like there we go. Okay, so this is just the cover of the sewing machine. So anyway, number one priority was metal body. I want to have this guy for a long time. And then when it came to like comparing different models, there were a few kind of in my price range that I was asking him the difference on. And I was telling him, you know, I don't do any crazy sewing. Like I do garments, I do some like light quilting, so I want it to be heavy duty enough to go through some layers of fabric and, you know, have some different adjustments that I can do in order to do that. But I don't do a lot of decorative stuff. I don't need anything like computerized or whatever. And he showed me a few different ones and we settled on this one, which I was really happy with. It was just south of 300 pounds, which I thought was really good because I expected, I don't know, it just to be more expensive for, you know, good quality machine. But here she goes. Let me show you what we've got going on here. I'm very excited about it. It's quite heavy because it's all metal on the interior. We have pretty basic controls, things like stitch length and width. These are all the stitches that it has. I don't do a ton of decorative stitching, so just having a good like straight stitch and zigzag stitch that I can make wider or longer or whatever. Something that I did like about this that he pointed out is that these are all stitches for stretchy fabric. I can set it to do just like a straight stitch, but if it's for stretchy fabric, it'll do like 2 stitches forward, 1 stitch back, so that there's just like a little bit more stretch to it, which I think will be really helpful, and that's something I want to get more into. I really like what we've got going on here too. So this comes completely off to have a little arm going on there, and then in here there's a bunch of accessories for the machine that stay in there. So it has a front loading bobbin down here, which I'm excited about because it uses, again, metal bobbins. I'm really excited for, again, it's just like a little more of a heavy duty machine instead of having like a plastic top loading thing. That's the machine. I don't know that there's much more to say about it. It came with a few different feet. You can make the needle go left or right based on what kind of foot you're using. Yeah, pretty basic, but just like a good solid machine, which is exactly what I was looking for. So happy to have gotten that. This is a home serger overlocker situation. This guy is from Jaguar. Comes with a carrying case in case I need to bring my overlocker with me anywhere. The guy at the store was very excited about this case. He was like, oh, don't forget your case, like this will be so nice.
It's cool though. You should use it as a purse.
Actually, yeah, it would be a cool purse. Sewing kit, which I guess is nice, but this will be like what, number 10 in my like stash of measuring tapes. It's like a really nice seam ripper actually. And down below if you actually use thimbles. I learned what a thimble was when I was like younger, and my grandma did a lot of sewing and she made it sound like this like very important part of sewing, and I've never used one before. I've had a few like lying around, but let me know if you're like a thimble lover. Okay. What is this? Don't know.
Love that.
It comes with white and black thread. Basically why I decided on this one, it is, what's the model name? Jaguar 935D. This was solely based on the sewing guy's recommendation. He was super nice and trusted his judgment, and like I said, he wasn't trying to like upsell or anything. I basically just told him like, I want a serger because I want to be able to professionally finish my pieces that I make at home. I don't have a ton of experience, so I don't want it to be anything fancy or hard to figure out. I want it to be relatively simple, but I want it to be able to be set up and just like work. Like I don't want to have a whole setup every time I want to use it. Basically I just want it to sit there and like serge edges when I need it to. He recommended this one. It was also at a good price point. It was just under 400 pounds I think. Like this one was just a really solid machine, and based on serges that I have seen, this does seem like a very substantial one. It's a bit bigger than what I've seen before. Ta-da! So it does 4 or 3 thread. I think he said it can even do 2, but I'll probably just always do 4. And the main reason that he really recommended this, especially for like a relatively simple to use and beginner friendly home machine, is because this whole front part opens up. Here we go. So you can see the entire inside of the machine, and I've only used one domestic overlocker. I didn't really learn a ton of how it worked. But this one does seem a bit easier to use. I think a lot of domestic machines, only this part opens up, and so you can't see down here. And I remember when I was trying to thread that one, you kind of have to like get into this area without actually seeing it. And so he was really recommending this because you can open up the entire thing, and it has a bunch of different color marks that show you how to thread each piece of thread through. It has both the option to cut the fabric off, so there's a knife on it that it will cut things off, and then there's also the option to do like a rolled hem instead, so like multiple different kinds of serging. I'm remembering now what this is. This is an attachment you can put on the front, and it'll collect your offcuts of the fabric. Tools in here as well, like a bunch of accessories. Wait, this is kind of cute. What is this? Oh my gosh, another measuring tape. When will it end?
Why did you need one inside your machine?
No, seriously, like, oh wait, 1 second, let me just like open up my entire machine right now. Yes, I was very impressed with this. It was, again, like at a better price point than I expected because these are quite complicated machines, they just can be quite expensive, and I knew that I wanted one, but as someone without a ton of experience, like owning my own, I didn't want it to be super fancy. This is gonna be a bit of a project for me to learn more about sergers. I feel like I know quite a bit about sewing machines. I'm happy to have these here too and have it be relatively easy to thread because I think it's quite cool when you see serged edges on the outsides of garments, or like I was doing that on scrunchies for a while. The shared machines that I was using before this, we weren't allowed to rethread them. Well, some people did, but you were not supposed to rethread them with different colored thread. But this one that I have at home, I can rethread it and be like, okay, I want to do like a bright red, you know, border on things or whatever. So that's gonna be really fun, and just learning more about sergers in general. I think this seems like a pretty approachable one so far. And again, like it's nice and heavy and sturdy and durable, and I think they'll be quite nice together. So that's a new family around here. Last step, I've got my keys. We decided that the measuring tape is going on here because why did they put a keychain on it just to stuff it in there? I actually think this is gonna be quite handy. I feel like I'm often trying to measure things, right? Cute. Okay, keychain tour. So I have obviously like my keys. And then this little guy is so cute. One of our friends gave it to Grace, and then Grace gave it to me to watch over me on my keychain, which is so sweet. These are loop earplugs, which are so great. I think I have the like experience ones, or the ones that are for like concerts, but the tube is just as loud as a concert. So I often wear these like on public transportation or at live music events, and really like having those on hand. And then I have this Glossier birthdaybalm.com, which is like my day-to-day little lip moisturizer. It's like clear, so it's just nice to have on there. One day I was in the store and they were doing like turning them into keychains, so nice to have it on there. I love being a bitch. That's how I feel when I walk around like this. Book haul. Look how cute they are all together. I found this great bookshop called Artwords on Broadway Market this weekend, and they had a bunch of stuff that is specifically like independent publishing about fiber art and craft. I've only read one of them so far, this little zine called Softness, a Meditation on Knitting. This is a Common Threads press publication, and I love their stuff. I had seen this before and was really excited to pick it up. First of all, beautiful book. It's bound in the center, which I think is such a nice touch, especially for the topic. And inside it has these little illustrations throughout. A lot of them are about pieces that the writing is talking about, and they're just like beautiful little like watercolors, it looks like. And I really like, with independently published books, the different like formats that things take. Like I never would have thought of inserting pieces like that, but it looks so cool and it adds so much to the book. It was a very quick read. I did it in one sitting. It's all about the memories and like the softness that knitting holds, specifically hand knitting. It talks about grief and relationships and how hand knit objects just hold so many stories, and how that is a very important counter to the fast fashion system where we treat clothes as very disposable, how important it is to have pieces that either we invest in or that other people have invested a lot of time in to give to us, and the level of just like relationship and care and love that comes in an exchange like that. So that was very beautiful. I would definitely recommend that. Everything Common Threads does is great. I haven't read any of these other ones yet, but I'm very excited about them. So I picked up some art education ones. I have a degree in art education. I'm an art educator, and I feel like I'm at my best when I'm reading about like pedagogy and thinking about how people of all ages excited about art. So I'm excited to get more into more stuff like that. I feel like I'm just like much more happy about my work when I'm thinking about the meaning and the pedagogy behind it. Wicked Arts Education Designing Creative Programs, and it's like a workbook that you go through, and it gives different ideas on how to set up creative programs. There's lots of questions and prompts, and like it takes you through the whole process. So I think that will be really cool, and I'll be curious if it like inspires any workshops. I just nerd out about this stuff, so I love to hear like how other people put together programs, and always thinking about ways to, you know, make experiences creative and fun and engaging for the people involved in them, and maybe infuse a little pedagogy that they don't even realize is there. So I'm excited to read that. And this sweet little book, it's called Nearness, Art and Education After COVID-19. And just from the back, what it says it's about is online learning and online meetings and working with people online, how there really is just no replacement for like being in a room with people, specifically when it comes to like making objects, making art. What we've learned from that, what we can take forward when it comes to teaching and pedagogy, so I'm excited about that as well. That is probably gonna be another one sit read for me. Beautiful cover on this book. Look, it's like shiny and it has cross stitch, like needle pointy type text. Made in Patriarchy. This is by Cheryl Buckley and brings together two texts that she's written. So the first was in 1986. It says, in 1986, Cheryl Buckley argued that design history is shaped by patriarchal biases that trivialize, marginalize, or erase women's contributions. Period. Talks a little bit about that, and then it says Buckley revisited the evolution of the field in 2020, reflecting critically on both its progress and persisting challenges while addressing gaps in her earlier thinking. Obviously, I read a lot about craft politics. This is right up my alley. This last one is called Needlework from Domestic Oppression to Artistic Expression. Okay. And actually, someone in the bookshop who was like also shopping around saw me looking at it, and they were like, "That book is amazing. You have to get it." She said she had like some connection to like someone who knew the author, and that it's a dissertation project that someone did at Central St. Martin's. I've read a lot of cool zines that people come out of their dissertations doing. Young women academics are doing such cool things, and I think that like the zine is such an amazing format because it allows you to take a very quick but very like deep niche deep dive into something, and it's so obvious that like someone just has a niche passion for something, wants to write about it, wants to share about it, like puts out a little booklet. Gorgeous, gorgeous, love it. Was excited to see this one and have someone who was just happened to be there like be so excited about it. And this has some beautiful binding on the inside of it, which I love to see. Anyway, yeah, I haven't read it yet, so I don't know exactly what it's about, but the title makes it seem like it's something for me. Stay tuned to see, you know, as I read those, what I have to say about them. I feel like this was a very like stay tuned, like in progress video. I don't really have anything like finished to show. I just have books I haven't read and boxes I haven't unpacked, but it's about to get really exciting. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.